Well, howdy do, buckaroos. How the heck are you? So I got one here that was sent to me by Todd Renn out of Sellersburg, Indiana. It's not exactly super cold here, but it's kind of a dreary overcast day. I figure it was a perfect day for an Imperial Stout. The Axis Mundi Bourbon Barrel Aged Imperial Stout from Mad Tree Brewing. I haven't had anything from this brewery before. I'm not familiar with them at all. 10.5%, 72 IBUs. The malts used is under malts, it just says a metric shit ton. So it's a lot of malt hops. It uses Cascade and Pearl. Pearl is a great hop for me anyway, especially in, I mean, it's used in a lot of things, but I actually do love it in when it's used in stouts. One of my favorite India dark ales or black IPAs, whatever you want to call them, is the Black Pearl from RJ Rockers, and is that Pearl hop really just makes that one work. But anyways, I thought it was interesting that this one had that in it. So I've never had this before. I popped it. I took a picture. I haven't sniffed or drank or anything yet. So here we are. We're trying this together, folks. Oh wow, wow! Holy crap! The first thing I noticed actually was some big roasted malt and a whole lot of chocolate, but then almost immediately after that first whiff, after that, my senses picked up those first aromas. Well, I was almost knocked over by the by the bourbon barrel notes here. You really feel that oak. You really feel that bourbon barrel. I tell you what, and it almost kind of hit me almost like a. Well, now it's kind of mellowing out. I'm kind of getting I'm feeling the vanilla and other things going on there. But at first, it almost got me like a big port wine, you know. Oh, it's very nice. Yeah, actually, the body feels a lot lighter than I expected it to be. The body does feel lighter than a lot of Russian Imperials, barrel aged. At 10.5% that use a metric shit ton of malts. I expected it to be a little thicker. It's not too light. It's certainly not watery, but it is a tad thinner than I expected it to be. Wow, I'm using my little mother's glass here. I love this one for big brews. That they don't use this one anymore. I guess it was last year, maybe the year before, they used it for the MILF, but now they're using a different glass. But I really like this one. That's perfect for imperial stouts for me, especially ones that come in larger bottles. This one's a 500 milliliter bottle, not a 22 ounce, but it's larger than standard beer anyway. Because I can pour a little bit of a beer like this. I probably got this a little bit colder than it has to be. I had it in the fridge. I pulled it out, left it for about 15 minutes before I popped it, but it's still got a little bit of a chill on her. The aromas are starting to mellow now that it's sat in the glass for a few. Again, big roasted barley notes. Uh, uh, a, a nice amount of dark chocolate going with it. Slight bits of coffee near the end, but I'm feeling the malts and the chocolate more so than coffee, but it is in there in a very light way. Coffee like notes. There's not coffee in this if you're following me. Those roasted malt notes can mimic chocolate and toffee. At 72 IBUs, wow, that's a lot of IBUs on an imperial stout, and you really can't tell because it really keeps a beer 10.5% that uses this many malts can become very cloyingly sweet, and that was the issue I had with the 2015 Bourbon County Stout. I thought it was absolutely freaking horrible. I know I've talked to other folks that liked it. Maybe what came to my neck of the woods was different. I don't know. But the beer that I had was absolutely horrible. And I talked to others in my neighborhood as well that had the same issues with it that I did, in the fact that it was very sweet. It was very cloying. It didn't have enough hoppage to keep all that malt in check. And that's what this one does right. There is a lot of malts here going on, and the bourbon barrel is going to add another dimension. It's also going to add a little bit of sweetness. So if you don't have enough hoppage to keep it in check, it's going to get out of control on you. And in my opinion, that's what happened to the Bourbon County Stout, the 2015 Bourbon County Stout. I thought it was absolutely almost undrinkable. I had a hard time getting through it. And if you know anything about me, you know I'm a fan of anything in a bourbon barrel. So if I don't like something you've done in a bourbon barrel, there's probably something wrong with what was done in the bourbon barrel because I love them all. So now that I've let this kind of warm, I'm down to just a little bit in my glass here. I'm feeling a lot more of the oak on the nose than I was getting initially. At first, like I said, the first thing I noticed was some chocolate, and then the bourbon barrel just kind of almost overpowered me. But now those aromas have kind of melded together in a very harmonious way. Again, there is still some chocolate going on the nose. You really feel that roasted barley in a big way. But now the bourbon barrel notes feel more cohesive as it warms up, which is natural. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Hope I didn't get any on you. But I mean, there are some very slight toffee notes, bits of vanilla. Again, just enough to kind of hold it all together. So the vanilla isn't overpowering, but it's enough to not let the big roasted barley and the chocolate and the other notes kind of get out of control on you. But it's the finish that really makes this one work because, again, where Imperial bourbon barrels, Russian Imperial bourbon barrel stouts go wrong is if there's not enough hops to keep that big malt and everything else in check, and that's where that that big macro, that's where they went wrong in my opinion. That's where this one goes incredibly right. Is they've got that 72 IBUs. It's enough to dry it up, clean it up at the end, and it's absolutely beautiful. I love this beer. Wow. Hey, thanks Todd Renn for sending it to me. I am really going to have to get you some good stuff as soon as I can. Thanks, man. Bye now. Wowzer, wow, wow. I really got to tell you, I mean, for me, this particular Russian Imperial Stout is flawless. Axis Mundi, Mad Tree Brewing. Thanks, Todd Renn, for sending it to me. This one is absolutely beautiful. It does everything right, in my opinion. Thanks again.